The Owl House is a show with so many great characters, and yet there is one that stands above them all. One character who I wanted to punch at the start of the show is now who I'd consider to be the most popular in the fandom. Of course, I'm talking about Amity Blight, and today we'll be covering her journey from hateable to fan favorite, why that is, and everything else that makes Amity tick, so we can understand. As we all know, Amity started as the show as a bully to Willow, but that wasn't always the case. When they were younger, they were the best of friends, but we have that introduction of the worst thing in Amity's life, Odalia Blight. Odalia is such an interesting character because she is so power-hungry, yet she hasn't achieved anything herself. She's in the Oracle Coven, which means she's just riding off Alador's coattails for Blight Industries. She hasn't achieved anything, and she just manipulates those around her to get what she wants. And this pressure is a constant thorn in Amity's side. She's forced to stop being friends with Willow and instead goes for the popular girl posse group. And that, of course, means Amity doesn't have any real friends, only just being superficial ones. At the same time, she was being bullied by her older siblings. The reason they are targeting her is because she doesn't realize what a horrible life she has and just drinks her mother's Kool-Aid and follows what she thinks she should be doing because that's what her mother has been force-feeding her since she was a child. And why should Amity think that other people have it better? Her mother is so interested in status and shoving that mentality on her own daughter that one, Amity doesn't have any real friends to compare with, and two, the friend she did have is seen as lower class in Willow, not worthy of comparison. So the escape Amity has is two things. One is her studies. While she doesn't necessarily want to be in the Emperor's Coven, only following it to please her mother, she does find solace in her studies, where she can show that she's better than everyone through her own strength, not her class and what her parents did. She can work to get what she wants. The main escape, though, is a book series called The Good Witch Azora. Amity volunteers at the library and has been gifted a private study room, which is her own sanctuary from pressure, her parents, her siblings, a place where she can just be her dorky self and read fantasy novels, which subconsciously tell her that she could be having a better life. And everything changes with the arrival of Luz Noceda. This girl from a foreign land who comes and just starts sabotaging everything Amity thinks she wants and getting her into trouble. Well, it's obvious Amity is going to be mad at Luz. Again, she has been manipulated her whole life into thinking that status is key, so when Luz embarrasses Amity at school and then at the convention, in front of an arena full of people, she has just been trained to think Luz is scum and horrible and vilified. But all this changes when Amity realizes that Luz isn't just some chaos-causing teen ruining her life. She's a student who craves knowledge just as much as Amity does, if not more. This realization is only set in stone after, lost in language. Luz screws up. She does something with Amity's siblings, which directly attacks Amity. While Luz is just trying to protect Amity's privacy, it doesn't seem that way. One of the best things about this scene is that we just get a little bit of a view into Amity's head with her talking diary. I love diaries in fiction because it is a perfect way to understand the raw psyche of a character. And what we see is the chaos in Amity's head, not sure of what to think of Luz, interacting with her family, and just her teen awkwardness. This moment really grounded Amity for me, as well as my favorite part of the first day episode was just Amity talking to herself in a school corridor. It was similar, and I just love moments like that. It is only after a life and death situation, fighting a book monster, that Amity realizes that Luz's heart is in the right place, and they become friends over the shared interest of a good witch, Azora. After this, we see more of the friendship and adventures in the elements, but the next real step for Amity is in understanding Willow. This episode has Amity face the music and really understand the consequences that she had on Willow's life. By the start of this episode, Amity and Luz were definitely friends, and instead of treating Luz like her sworn enemy, we're seeing Amity start to want to make Luz like her and think of her in a positive way. This is building up to Enchanting Ground Fright, probably where the majority of the audience really fell in love with Amity as a character. Amity finally has a chance to prove herself, that she isn't just some nepo baby, but she worked hard to become powerful and get a good education, and that she can do it. But if she faces Grom, her worst fear, rejected by Luz, could get exposed. So Amity sacrifices her dream for Luz. She would rather be with Luz and tell Luz herself that she has a crush than having it exposed and possibly losing her chance. If you think about it like this, it just shows how serious Amity's crush is and just makes it even more fun to watch. But Luz, being the person she is, tries to help Amity. She fails, but it also gives Amity the courage she needs to face Grom. I mentioned this in my Luz video, but the Grom dance must have been the best moment in Amity's life up to this point. Besides a brief time with Willow, Amity's life has been pretty miserable, and that she is dancing with the girl she likes, showing off how powerful she is to everyone, and just having a great time. It would definitely be a night to remember. In the next episode, Winged Like Witches, Amity has turned on a lot of her old posse, filled with bullies, and even helps Willow defend herself, even if she's mainly doing it just to help Luz. Fast forward to Season 2 in Escape and Expulsion, Amity is fully committed to the Friends idea and ruins her parents' expo in order to save a photo of her with her friends, and this gets her punished in order to punish Amity. Luz, again being Luz, tries to help everyone and fails by doing a job for Odalia, but Odalia, being Odalia, is just evil and uses it as a chance to try and kill Luz. Amity comes to help with the aid of Gus and Willow, who she's now closer with, and finally stands up for herself to her mother and also saves Luz. Next, in Through the Looking Glass Ruins, the second library episode. In this episode, the romance fermenting between Luz and Amity is pressurized, and a lot happens. First, they both mention how they feel different around them as compared to other people, and Amity gets flustered and mad in the moment, but she emerges from a chrysalis in a second as a new character for the rest of the show. Beforehand, there's Pink, there's green-haired Amity, now there's Purple Hand, and they're just two different people. Amity dyes her hair, and almost everything about her changes. First of all, she rejects her identity as a Blight. I love that the family last name is Blight, because that means a Blight is something which destroys everything around it. It is what Odalia does time and time again, what Edric and Emra did to Amity, and what Amity did to Willow and Luz at the start of the show. When she dyes her hair, she comes to terms with herself. She's reborn, letting loss of guilt and pressure just wash away. And this new self, Luz came and went on a whole mission off screen to make things up to Amity, and Amity kissed Luz. All of this, though, is followed up in knocking on Hootie's door. Before we cover that, I want to remind you that you chose this video to be made in a vote, and Belos was really close. For that reason, in January, I will be releasing a character deep dive on Philip Woodabane or Belos. If you want to see that, make sure to hit the subscribe button. It'll let me know that you like this type of video and that you want more. It also helps me get close to monetization, which means higher quality videos. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed. But let's keep going. Amity gets kidnapped by Hootie for all is fair in love and war.
The guardian owl of Gahoot has protected you once more! Gahoot!
Then she enters the tunnel of love ride with Luz. It seems everything she hoped for was true. Her feelings were reciprocated, and she can get together with Luz, until Luz burns it all down. She destroys the tunnel of love so violently, and for just a little bit, Amity is just fully crushed. That is until they get back to the surface, where Luz tries to ask Amity out, only for, again, the more confident Amity now to do it instead. After this is Eclipse Lake, where Amity and Luz are fully dating at this point. Luz gets sick, and Amity tries to take care of her. To do this, though, she ends up going on a mission where she runs into the Golden Guard. Now, without breaking down his entire character, Hunter is a victim of abuse and thinks he only exists to serve others, and he begins manipulating Amity into sharing this same mindset, and he thinks that she needs to succeed on this mission for Luz's approval. But Amity remembers why she loves Luz. It's because Luz is fun and accepting, and she wants to help everyone, not just keep them under her thumb. Amity leaves with more confidence in Luz than ever. But in the next two main episodes for Lumity, Amity's trust is tested. In both Follies at the Covent Parade and Reaching Out, Luz withholds important information from Amity. By the end of Reaching Out, Luz learns her lesson, but it was a rough period in their relationship. Speaking of Reaching Out, it is an important episode for Amity in another way. Although she has given up and trying to be a Blight, she does want to connect with her father and ends up getting his attention in this episode through the whole competition. From there, it is only clouds on the horizon left for Season 2 of Amity's character, and Amity is protesting her mother's actions, which are in support of Belos, and ends up getting captured, and Luz needs to save her. This episode is the point of no return for Amity's relationship with her mother. Odalia is a literal blight of magic. Her greed is setting up the downfall of all types of magic. Amity completely turns her back on Odalia, though she does get a sweet reunion with Luz. At the end of the season, she comes around and Amity is trapped in the human realm along with all of her friends, where they stay at Luz's house. I love that in Thanks to Them, in the intro, that Amity draws a picture of her family, Alador, Edric, and Emra. No Odalia to be seen. Amity's real role in these episodes is to support Luz's journey. Amity reached her inner peace at the end of Season 2, and now she's complete. And although Amity is, of course, worried about her family, she's completed her arc, and I like to think when she set off the light glyph with Luz in the intro, as Luz's light in her darkness, that is where the character ends. In summary, Amity has been pressured all her life to follow a strict set of rules and value her status above everyone else. To try and please her mother, she betrayed her friends and cut herself off from almost everyone else. It wasn't until she met Luz, the first person who accepted Amity as she came and made efforts so that Amity could be happy. After receiving this compassion, there was no turning back. Amity realized that she had no love for her mother and just fell head over heels for Luz. From there, Amity becomes a more confident person, stands up for her beliefs, needs, and wants, and at the end of the show, stood up to the person who made her such a monster at the start. Anyways, that will be it for today. If you haven't seen it, I released a video breaking down Luz's character, which complements a lot of what I discussed here today. And if you have another animated show, which may be gayer than anyone suspected, just like The Owl House, Arcane, I haven't made a video on Vi yet, but I have made one on Jinx's character, so you can check that out. That will be it for today, so thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in one of those two videos, but until then, bye!